following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hello, I'm Carl Seidel, host of The People's View. The People's View is a show sponsored by the Nashua Republican City Committee. The committee meets every second Thursday at the Crown Plaza. And if you want to contact us, we have a website, nashuagop.org. And at the end of the show, you'll see some contact phone numbers or email addresses that you may want to send us your comments and recommendations. Thank you for listening in.
Welcome to The People's View, a program dedicated to discussing local, state, and national issues and their effect on the American people. The People's View provides a platform for state representatives and national figures to present their viewpoint. Whether it's social, economic, or financial topics, you'll hear it on The People's View.
Hello, and we're welcoming Senator Bob Smith. Bob, how are you today?
Well, I'm great, Carl. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, well, we'd like to do a little bit of a summary of what your campaign is and what you're looking forward to being able to do if elected. And if you can tell our audience, on those topics, where you're coming from.
Well, thank you. I'll do my best. We were at an event last night where they wanted me to discuss how I could reform the Social Security system in 1 minute. So, boy.
Well, I'm not going to be that tough.
Well, first of all, I had to think long and hard about the decision to run. It was a big decision to come back, but I feel like I can make a difference. There are problems in our country today, serious ones, and I view them more as challenges than problems, and I think we can step up as Americans. We always do, but just to outline a few, obviously Obamacare is something that I think should be repealed. The situation now with illegal immigration is really a mess. I mean, people are coming in here illegally, not coming to the border and coming over, they're flying over the border, and which means that somebody in the administration is in cahoots with somebody at the country of origin and bringing these people in over the border. It's bizarre. So we have that, and we also have people crossing the border. But the truth is we have 20 to 25 million illegal aliens in this country who should go home. They should be made to go back. That's costing us a fortune. And it's just not right. We're not the receptacle for the world. We were built by immigrants, legal immigrants, but certainly not intended to be the receptacle for all illegal immigrants. So it is being encouraged by the administration, which I think violates the immigration laws of our country.
Definitely.
So that's a huge issue. And then the third issue, which I think really, well, you always have the debt, and that's huge too. But the other one is about personal freedoms. People are very concerned about the NSA spying, violation of Fourth Amendment, and the harassment.
IRS.
Yeah, IRS harassment. I mean, and then of course, as we know, in Obamacare, the enforcer is the IRS. So we have a situation where the lady who took the Fifth Amendment to keep from talking is now the one who's going to fine you if you don't get Obamacare. So it's not a happy situation out there.
No,
Carl.
not at all. And I think it's even more dangerous now with what's happened with this ISIS over in Syria.
It's not getting any better there. I mean, it was a terrible thing that happened to Mr. Foley. I just found out this morning, I didn't realize it, that I actually had known Foley's parents. They lived in Wolfboro at one point. He was a physician there many years ago. And so it was just terrible. I mean, they're barbarian people. They just don't care, have no decency or a concern for human life. And
to think that some of them might be U.S. citizens or even other citizens with passports to get into this country legally.
Yeah, it's really bad, and I think that we have to understand that we're dealing with an enemy now who it's very insidious because they don't have a country really. They hide out in Syria, or they hide out in Afghanistan, or various different countries where they're protected and given some sanctuary, if you will. But they're not really. It's not a country. It's like in World War II, we could say, well, the enemy's in Tokyo or the enemy's in Berlin, but that's not the way it is now. And they could be anywhere. They could be here, and they may be here, and they may be crossing the border here. We got to really be on top of this.
And they're getting financed by all sorts of means too, which is something that gives them a lot of ability to do things.
I think if you really track the U.S. dollars that get spread around over in the Middle East, I bet a lot of U.S. dollars are being used to kill our own people.
Which is terrible.
Which is disgusting, yeah really.
Well, if you got elected, what would you want to do first thing in Congress? What were you looking at?
Well, you know, as a U.S. Senator, you're one vote, of course, but you know, not being a dictator or the president or an executive, it's hard to say I could do this one thing. But I really believe that it does take leadership. We are a republic. We elect our people to lead us, and people say we're a democracy. We're not. We have representatives, elected representatives. So I would want to take a leadership role on the issues that I just outlined, really. Retiring the debt and trying to get the budget balanced, maybe pass a balanced budget amendment so that the Congress would have to do the right thing, which is, it's a shame we have to have a law for them to do it, but to balance the budget, get our debt paid off. That's going to take a while, but at least get the budget balanced so the debt clock goes this way instead of that way. And deal with the illegal immigration. We've got to seal the borders. We absolutely have to seal the borders, and we have to send these people back home. I mean, to me, it's not complicated. They need to go back home and
start over in a legal process.
And start over with a legal process if they want to come here, absolutely, and respect our laws. They're violating our laws. They're causing us huge costs in social services, and not to mention national security, which you mentioned. Somebody might be slipping across the border. So I would certainly want to address those. Certainly like to lead the effort to repeal Obamacare so that we can choose our own doctors, we can choose our own medical facilities and insurance, which isn't the case under Obamacare. And you know, what I've been saying is, if Obamacare is so good, why is it that it has to be mandated? If it's that good, people should step up. It's kind of like the union argument, right? The right to work. I've always felt like if a union is that great, I can't wait to go down and join it, right? But if it's if you have to be forced to join it, such as Obamacare or a union, well, then maybe it's not so good. Maybe it's not as good as it.
They have to earn it. They have to earn it.
So I really think I'm a strong believer in the Reagan philosophy of, you know, stick to your principles, stand up for what you believe, fight the battle, and lead. Don't just be a shrinking violet and sit back and watch. And I, as a senior senator, one who's been there before, with 12 years of experience, I know the ropes. I know how it works, or how it doesn't work in some cases. And so I think I'll be in a position to lead and help New Hampshire and the nation to do things to return our country back to its constitutional principles, which we've basically been ignoring.
So we want you want to work with the other senators to turn it around.
Yeah, I think that the kinds of people that would if people want to know who does Bob Smith, who would he hang out with, if you will, in a sense of trying to get something done, I would be probably Ted Cruz, Jeff Sessions, Jim Inhofe, Mike Lee, Rand Paul. These are the guys that I believe are the leaders that would want to go, that would go where I'd want to go.
They're certainly very vocal, and they have a lot of ideas out there.
Well, they do, and they get frustrated because the Senate is not a place to enact things quickly. So you have to build. You have to build coalitions of people that agree with you, and that takes a little time, and it's frustrating. But you do it. That's what you have to do, and hopefully we'll elect enough conservatives that we might change a few things.
I know you say you're the one with the that goes by the Republican platform. So
well, I think if you run as a Republican, you ought to at least endorse the platform at least most of the time. We got one of my opponents voted more with the Democrats than he did with the Republicans, Mr. Brown. So you know, I guess to each his own, but yeah, I do. I support the entire platform. I'm pro-life, I'm pro-gun, I'm pro, getting rid of excessive regulations, excessive taxes, cut the capital gains,
A little smaller government. maybe?
smaller government, downsize and get rid of federal agencies that are unconstitutional, restore our Fourth Amendment rights. I mean, this is who we are as a Republican Party. And I think that my issues in the past have never been with the party platform, but rather with individuals in the party who decide that they want to move away from what we really stand for. And Reagan said it best, if you, no pale pastels, just bold colors, you know, let everybody know what the difference is between those guys on the left and us.
And how will you communicate to the voters here in New Hampshire if elected? I mean, how are you setting up your organization, if you will?
Well, boy, I haven't thought too much about how we do that until after I get elected, but I don't want to put the cart before the horse. But, well, you know, what's interesting, Carl, is the technology is so different now with the internet and email and all of the gadgetry that we have that I didn't have when I was running a few years ago. So, but I'm excited about the opportunity to do it. I love constituent service. We've been able to help, and I run into them every day, people that maybe I nominated their kid to one of the academies, or their dad got a Purple Heart that he earned that he wasn't able to get, or had a problem with Social Security or the Veterans Administration, and we were able to help. And I enjoyed that. I think that's the fun part of the job, and it's the job that's what you should be doing, helping people. That's your role, to help people who have issues with the government.
And a lot of people have issues with the government.
I know, I do. I mean, in terms of the spying, I mean, I think this is a slippery slope.
Oh, it is,
Carl. I mean, if you can, you know what bothers me is what kinds of people are actually these ones that sit with earphones on or whatever and listen to other people's conversation. But let me balance that by saying, look, there are a lot of great people who work in the intelligence community of the United States. They're real, true patriots, and they are not the kind of people we're talking about here. We're talking about people that go over the top, that just get crazy ideas that you have to spy on American citizens. The original intent of the Patriot Act was to prevent bad people like the ones who came in here and blew us up. Blew up the Trade Center in New York, and of course the Pentagon. Yeah. We want to keep people like that from coming in here, and also if there were more of them here, we wanted to find out who they were and get them out. But it was never intended to spy on innocent Americans with no probable cause and violate their Fourth Amendment rights. So we have to straighten that out, and we will. And the guy that wrote the bill originally wrote the Patriot Act, Jim Sensenbrenner, he supports dramatic reforms to protect our Fourth Amendment rights. So I'd be with him.
So essentially there was unintended consequences based on what they wanted and what they got.
It is unintended, and well, maybe it was intended by some, but it was certainly unintended as far as I was concerned. I did not expect that to go the way it went. But part of that problem is the generality of some of the laws. They're so big, so many pages. They're so complex, all written in legalese, that it becomes very difficult, even if you read the bill, which most congressmen and senators don't. But even if you did, it would be hard to understand it because of the way it's written. I think we need to simplify the bill. Somebody told me the other day that Obamacare was 2,700 pages long, and the Constitution was, what, less than 10 pages? So I mean, come on.
It's ridiculous that nobody, and they're still finding out what they can do and what they can't do.
Well,
that,
you know, lawyers, they can, they
wiggle around the
they can
laws any way you want it.
Make something out of nothing real easy.
Yeah. Well, do you still have need to build up some last-minute support in a field? I mean, by having more volunteers?
Yeah, we can always use volunteers. If you got nothing to do out there and you want to give us a hand, we'd appreciate it. I'll tell you, I've run campaigns here now a long time, and I've never seen anything like the amount of activity and interest in our campaign on the ground. I think people know that we're not out there flush with cash, so we have a lot of volunteers. Almost all of my campaign is volunteer people. We've put out 2,000 signs so far, and more coming. And it's really been exciting. And people doing sign waves and putting up signs and calling on the phone, say, "Where are my signs? Where are my signs? I want signs." Back in the old days when I'd run, even as good as campaigns as I ran, I'd always have to say, "Hey, Carl, would you put a sign up?" "Well, I'll think about it." But now they're beating down the door.
Good.
And I think that's, no pun intended, I think that's a good sign. I mean, I think that's what politics is all about. Grassroots, getting people involved, turn people on to the process. Even if they vote against you. I mean, if you can get people involved so that they care, then that's exciting. But of course, as you know, the turnout predictions for this primary are not very good. I mean,
I think we have to get out the vote. We have to get the Republicans out there and the independents that lean our way to get out the vote.
Yeah, I like to tell people, if you're going to vote for my opponent, the primary is September 10th. If you're going to vote for me, it's September 9th. See you there.
Yeah, and around here in Nashua, we have 3 of the wards that have changed their location, so we have to make sure they know where to go.
Just to clarify, I was only joking. I mean, these people say Smith told everybody, but September 10th.
So you only got about 2 more weeks, and hopefully these clips will help people make a decision one way or the other.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity, especially those of us who aren't flush with cash, and we appreciate the opportunity that you give us at least to get our message out there. And we can't meet everybody, obviously. We do meet a lot, but we can't meet everybody.
We put your website up on the TV, and people can find out where you're going to be over the next couple of weeks, I guess it is. And good luck on that, Bob.
Well, we have a really exciting event next Friday. Well, I know we're taping, but it's the 29th, the 29th of August. And we're having a country music band, the Confederate Railroad. We're going to have fireworks. It's at the Rochester Fairgrounds. It's only $20 a ticket, and you can see 20, 30 minutes of fireworks, an hour and 15 or 20 minutes of a great country band, good food, fun. Bring your kids. Kids are free. You give the $20 and it helps me out a little bit with the campaign. And at the same time, we give the opportunity to people who have been working in the trenches, if you will, or out there putting up signs and doing the things that volunteers do in campaigns, gives them a chance to go and have some fun and get the esprit de corps, as we used to say in the military, get the esprit de corps, get people together and feeling good about the campaign and as we get into the closing days.
Well, unfortunately, our time is up, but I really appreciate you coming in, and good luck in the campaign, in the primary.
Thank you very much, Carl. Thank you for watching.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.